Hello, this is Kathleen from the World Economic Federation. Today we are continuing to discuss education and how to improve it for both the creation of a green economy and for the development of our society. Last week we talked about visual and neurodivergent learners and thoughts behind what our greener, healthier, and happier society needs to grow. Today, I want to talk about the effect of our current education system on society and its role in creating the problems we have today. Here in Portland, Oregon, we have access to an independent educational program called Trackers Earth that incorporates a lot of old world skills into its classes for children and adults, including outdoor and home crafts, smithing, archery, and fantasy play. With the loss of home economics and shop classes from public schools, this program offers some of the only hands-on learning available to students. Indeed, while there are vocational programs at select public high schools in the area, generally one school serves an entire area, only students who choose those programs can get that education. There are no classes for all students to take. Even when I was in high school in Virginia, and there was a separate vocational high school, at least my local school offered home ec and shop. I didn't take those classes. I'm not a visual learner. I'm a language person. I also was privileged enough to get instruction at home in cooking and sewing, as well as life skills such as typing, banking, and correspondence. Some of those skills seem a little old-fashioned, and you might wonder why a school would bother with them. But have you ever asked young people what they actually want to learn? I'm also involved in a community homeschooling co-op in my area, and my children have taken classes there, classes that parents and other community adults offer, which are not accredited, but just take a good idea, pooling resources, and run with it. So I don't have to set up a science lab in my own house for my homeschooled child. She can do that class with several other children, in a classroom set up for messy science experiments and exploration, with a teacher that majored in science and is currently teaching it while taking a break from a professional life in order to raise children, or who recently graduated from college and is teaching while planning a return to grad school, or something in between. I've personally led a math club at the school, helping students at various levels work their way through their chosen homeschool math curriculum. My own kid was using GED practice tests and was able to test out of lower-level math classes when they switched to community college to finish high school. Between my students, my older child's friends, and browsing social media, I have a decent idea of what students want to learn in class. They want to learn how to do their taxes. Algebra is not terribly important to their lives. Applied mathematics is. They want to learn how to cook. They want to know how to vote and drive cars. They want to know what the weird symbols on clothes labels mean when it's time to do laundry. They want to know first aid and home remedies. They want to know how their bodies work and how to plan families. Not all parents can teach these skills. Not all parents believe in sharing knowledge and prefer to keep their children ignorant of certain aspects of modern life. But our children are not content with their ignorance, and they are asking for help. Some of these concepts are controversial, but even concepts that should be non-controversial, like consumer math, shop, and home economics, still have disappeared from public education, despite being necessary to modern life. There are also new skills, as well as old-fashioned traditional ones, necessary for modern life, and especially for the upgrades necessary for a greener economy. Students need the opportunity to work with computers and design programs for 3D printers and other new technology. Students should be grappling with the issues of artificial intelligence, both how to design it and what its pitfalls can be. The conversation should not merely be taking place at the level of engineers and policymakers. The young people who will need to deal with these inventions should be given the tools for both their hands and their heads to ensure they are part of that future. All the tools for the green economy we want to build must be put into the hands of learners sooner rather than later. because their capacity for imagination will only diminish as they age. So we need home economics and shop back in school, or if not, made available through the community for free, like they would be in school. If public school cannot or will not provide them, then the community centers of the Federation will need to step in. All those practical courses would be there, of course: sewing and cooking, first aid and health, consumer math and tax preparation, at least until the Federation can replace that tax revenue, auto mechanics and carpentry, electricity and plumbing, gardening and animal husbandry. But also those computer courses, solar and wind energy technology, and all the other new technologies that will emerge as necessary to the green economy as we refocus our collective imagination and resources on how to grow green instead of how to drill, baby, drill. When we reframe our educational system on how to get the most out of the various intelligences and talents of all of our students, we can develop the very best technologies and efficiencies to suit them. At the very least, we could hope for a society that understands its problems better and develops new ideas to fight old problems, rather than assuming that, if no one has figured out an answer yet, there must not be one. Narrowness of thinking is the inevitable result of the narrowing of education, and the people who think we can't do any better or invent anything more and accept what we have now as the best of all possible worlds could stand some mental stretching. The worst result of this narrowness of thinking is actually not the Dunning-Kruger effect achieved by putting only those with a particular narrow band of knowledge and intelligence into a discrete area, where they then encourage each other to think that they have the only knowledge necessary to their field, thereby discouraging growth and invention. No, the worst effect is the stratification of society that occurs when you separate various talents and intelligences, first in the education system and then in the workforce. Even when outdated infrastructure demands more and more workers in the trades, most of society still believes that the only worthwhile choice for students is a university education, and that people who work the trade and service jobs necessary to the function of society are still lesser than the people who get their degrees. Even when schools still offer a vocational route for students, it is clear that that is for the lesser students. The smart kids, the worthwhile people, will still be pushed to choose university, even when the number of students with degrees exceeds the number of jobs available for graduates with the university degree. This is not a bug in the system, it's a feature. After all, the more debt-ridden graduates there are for each job, the less money you need to offer them to do that job. And the argument that, well, you should have chosen a better field, it's your fault that you picked the career we suggested to you, appears ever more absurd. The fact is, by denigrating the trades and other various careers, we participate in the mindset that we pay people only what the market forces us to pay them, not what they are worth. This was painfully obvious during the pandemic, as supply lines faltered and medical systems strained. Did the applause for the healthcare workers risking their lives to save others make it worthwhile? I'm guessing it wasn't enough. The number of nurses striking for better hours and wages, for more workers, for better working conditions, indicate to me now that we have ignored their sacrifices. Did anyone care that Wall Street traders had to stay home? No. Did we notice when it was hard to get groceries, to get flour so we could bake our sourdough bread, to get food delivered, to keep our cell phones working, to get some kind of education for our children, to have the internet working for all those Zoom calls? Yes, we did. Did we learn anything from this experience? Probably not the right lessons. The teachers leaving schools, the healthcare workers leaving hospital work, the stores with worker shortages having to close. These all indicate the society still does not value those workers. If we did, we'd pay them what they were worth, and not just the least amount we can get away with. With this in mind, the Federation sees the role of education as giving value to all types of intelligences and discouraging narrowness of vision, rather than separate the worthwhile people from those who fill the essential roles in society that we nevertheless see as lesser than. We place value on all types of talent and intelligence and reject the separate but equal concept of education. Students don't just need to have tools in their hands at some point to see if we can find the next great solar energy engineer. They need to learn from each other and value each other. Again, I know this sounds like communism to some of you. Traditional capitalism has always been about rewarding those who try harder, that only the best will achieve the top rewards. At least that's the happy ideal. But in the green society we're trying to build, we expect everyone to be able to contribute to society while still having a comfortable family life, neither toiling for a new set of oligarchs controlled by the state, communist style, nor toiling for fossil fuel oligarchs for the lowest wage that the market will bear, capitalist style. The UBI we envision helps to provide that security for caring for our families. The education system will help ensure that the work and invention we need to solve the climate crisis and other modern problems will get done. If you would like to see a broadening of education and a more functional economy that develops the talents of all members of society, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, feel free to comment. We also like to learn new things. Only by learning and sparking invention can we make the new green economy we want to build pay.